Hello ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another episode of I Got Gameplay. I'm Michael Burhan, your host here for the final time, as I'll be making my way to basically pass the show on to Mr. Sean Michelin, who's going to be our new host, as we continue doing the show every Saturday, 8pm ET of course, as yourselves be uploaded usually to our YouTube channel and via our I Got Gameplay hot link that will basically place the show onto iTunes. The reason why I'm going to be leaving the show, which I've spoken of quite candidly, is because I've been facing a few issues, personally, financially, home-wise. So I neither have the time nor the internet connection, and basically I'll be travelling around a lot, so I won't have the financial means to kind of support myself while I'm doing these shows. It's a shame. I will make my return eventually, but it won't be anytime soon. So on that note, I'll kind of leave my closing arguments in terms of my experiences on the show and talking about the various hosts we had in the show later on. So let's pass on to you, Mr. Sean Michelin. How are you doing today?
Not too bad. Yeah, off work about dinner time last night, about 6:30, and then came home, napped, woke up early, and just started doing some housework and tinkering with my capture stuff, just doing the one last set of pass-through cables with a monitor I put on them, set monitor I put on them, so I can start recording. And I'm playing around now with there's a webcam studio, so I can mix between my video capture card and my webcam, which I take to John Pellet export from my webcam stand, but so I can start trying out streaming and things like that as well, or just recording video for I'm showing all the views on some games. Yeah, well,
that's a great thing. I've been basically sitting at home taking care of the minions. As you guys can tell, I'm very, very bunged up at the moment. My nose, my face, everything just feels a bit woof.
Smells like shit.
Yeah, pretty much. Probably take a shower after the show's finished tonight. But before that, let's hit on to some gaming news, of course. As always, let's see if I can find the lovely little soundbite that we usually have that gets us on that whole gaming news mood, so to speak. Let's see if we can find it. Because everything in my folder is extremely disorganised. Whoops. But on that note, we will then on that note we'll pass through. I can't find it, so we'll just go on from the gaming news and talk about some of the things that have come out today, including San Diego Comic-Con. There's a few news that's come out in terms of the new Transformers Devastation game. A lot of people are hyped on this game in terms of Platinum Games and what they're doing with the Transformers series. It actually pays homage to the old animated series, the Transformers Generation 1 animated series that people used to love on television. It looks great, it's beautifully done, but it's more kind of singular fighting style of a game rather than anything else. So Sean, what do you think? Do you think that the game looks promising?
Oh, it looks really fun. Like, I've seen some screenshots and I haven't really watched much of the promo video. I'm trying to keep it spoiler free. One thing I like is that it's what they call previous generation 360 and PS3. Yeah. The cell shaded style. It appeals to me on kind of that Dynasty Warriors kind of visual style beat 'em up as well. Yeah. Not so much the chaining of attacks and things like that, but just really just like that feel, like robots brawling, G1, no Armada stuff, no Michael Bay universe, any of this, just good old school Transformers.
It's a shame though that they didn't get to see more characters, because at the moment there's only 3 characters to choose from in terms of the Autobots, and apparently eventually they may do like a get to play as some Decepticons, but we shall see on that one. Now, going on from that, GameSpot has released an article explaining why digital games are more expensive than physical. Ubisoft explains that the digital games stay more expensive than physical, and they cost twice as much as the physical ones in months after their launch. While we've come to expect digital and physical versions of the game to cost the same at launch, it remains somewhat bizarre to see physical versions discounted heavily after launch and digital ones maintain their price. The point of raised during the Ubisoft investors call today prompted CEO Yves Guillemot, who I probably butchered his name, but who cares, shed some light on that. He said during the post-earnings conference QA session, Ubisoft was asked about this pricing strategy. For instance, Far Cry 4 sells at $60 on the PlayStation Store than it did last November, whereas you can pick up the PS4 version of the game on Amazon for $24. Now, he basically puts off that digital is more reactive than what we put in stores, but at the same time it doesn't react as fast to consoles than it does to PC, Ginamon says. What you can say is that when games are older and 1 year in digital is a lot more dynamic on console because there are less units in stores. It's new business, a new trend, and we think that we'll get more with time. I think he's basically just bartering it. I don't think he has a definitive answer. They're trying to say that because it's a new model and it's a new structure, that's the reason why they're doing this. Do you agree?
No. I mean, the thing is, you look at Steam, places like that, games go down pretty cheap pretty quick. I mean, you look at the summer Steam sales and that, like the wallet rate that ensues, because there are so many good games, relatively new games too, that are just causing you to undergo concurrent wallet rape. But you look at the consoles, and yeah, the prices don't really drop down any bit. And I mean, physical media, the whole infrastructure behind physical media will cost you more. That's why the games are supposed to cost $60 because of the shipping and the handling and the packaging and the
it makes more sense because physically
it's just an upload to a cloud server.
Yeah, physically it costs a lot more. Whereas digital, and I see Nintendo doing the same thing in terms of their pricing structure, because when I see a game on Nintendo, like for instance, what's the new one that's come out, Splatoon, you can get it now on store shelves for $24.99, but it's still at a hefty £30 price range on the e-store.
Well, it's the same thing as Halo 4 up until last I saw. So this is like a year and a half ago now,
yeah,
or 2 years ago. Halo 4 was still like $40-50 on their store there on the Xbox Online service, and yet you go to like the local video game store or what have you, or Walmart, you can see the game for like $20-25. Not cheap.
Yeah, that's a shame. It really is a shame because it's something I think they need to work on. I think they believe that because it's a new model they can get away with shady tactics. I just disagree on that. And it's part of the many controversies I think in gaming as going on forward. The others, if you want to check out my video on Kickstarter controversies that I did, talking about why I believe there needs to be a lot more transparency in terms of Kickstarter projects, in my opinion. Now, Reddit CEO resigns following multiple controversies. The interim CEO has stepped down following several controversial decisions. The CEO of Reddit, Ellen Peo, stepped down from the post that follows several controversies surrounding the website over the past few months. Now, the board member Sam Altman explained that Peo had resigned due to a mutual agreement, and Steve Huffman, founder of the original head of Reddit, is returning as the next CEO. Now, we're happy to have Steve back, Altman wrote. The product and community are two legs of Reddit, and the board was very focused on redefining a candidate who excels in both. Truthfully, community is harder, which Steve does. He has added bonus of being a founder of 10 years of Reddit history in his head, and Altman also laid out the upcoming improvements and changes to the site. He reiterated that the subreddit moderators will soon receive new tools to help them work, and also promised greater transparency from administrators. Finally, he shared that Huffman is focusing on improving Reddit experience on mobile. And he ended with the reminder that the community members that threats and aggressive comments will not be tolerated. Disagreements are fine, he wrote. Death threats are not, and not covered under free speech, and will continue to be offending users banned. Peo's resignation follows a series of controversial decisions that sparked outrage in Reddit communities after a popular administrator responsible for helping run the Ask Me Anything subreddits was fired last week. As several subreddits began a blackout in protest. Even though Peo apologised for the community with the Reddit community before making the decision, a Change.org petition calling for a resignation accumulated over 200,000 sub-signatures as well. 5 subreddits were banned for offensive material, which which resulted in backlash to the community. Peo will stay on as advisor to Reddit's board of directors until the end of the year, which means she's still collecting a paycheck. So this is just kind of to appease people on Reddit rather than anything else. And it's a shame, really, because it seems to me that she had no idea what the hell she was doing.
And that was the main reason. I didn't bother giving any traffic, but Gawker's headline was that she was fired, and they were giving into misogynist politics or something like that, which is furthest from the case here. She just didn't have a goddamn clue.
Yeah, it sounds
no role there. It's like getting a weatherman to sell you tires.
Yeah, and it sounds it. It's a shame because A lot of people keep there's two sides to the whole feminaziism debate. One is you've got people who sit there and are very like, everyone's a feminazi if you disagree with my opinion. Then you've got the others who sit there and try and redefine something and fight battles that there's no point in fighting, like what we saw with the Mighty Number 9 situation, where one of their moderators for their forums, she was kind of an advisor, and she was designing characters and templates for the game as well, to the point where she obtained the job unlawfully, in a sense. Well, it was counterproductive the way she obtained it, because of the fact that she was apparently it was for a friend who worked in said company, or she was sleeping with the person. Oh, you have to excuse me on that, guys. I do apologise. The second was the fact that she was trying to have them redefine the main character in the game as female, and he's a robot. He really doesn't have a gender. Do you know what I mean? And she was trying to put a lot of feminism, political elements into the game, which, look, the truth is, and I've been getting sick and tired of this, and I want to point this out, guys, politics in the gaming community shouldn't happen. It really shouldn't. And it shouldn't happen in anything. It's like politics in music. If you run an indie label, why the fuck are politics happening? You know?
Yeah.
If you run an independent film company, why the fuck are politics happening? You're there to be creative and make something. And I think one of the things that I got really pissed off about the Mighty Number 9 situation in Fune, for example, is politics are hounding this guy, and it just seems like he just wants to be a face of a company. He doesn't really want to do anything. He wants to say, hey, look, I can create these games that are similar and successors to Mega Man. That's what you want, right? And that's where the big problem lies. And I think the same thing goes with the Reddit community. The Reddit community is hounded by politics. Why does it need to happen? We don't need it. You know, we just want to enjoy our games, enjoy talking on the internet. We don't need idiots trying to overthrow values or pressure people in high places to get what they want, because in the end it turns into something pretty much like what happened with Reddit, where people get fired because they're just fucking inept at what they're doing, which is a shame. Now, moving on from that subject, Gears of War Ultimate Edition will be free Xbox One pack in starting August. Now, Microsoft released a statement emphasising that only Gears of War Ultimate Edition for the Xbox One will include a free copy of the game during the Comic-Con panel. And a head for Microsoft Gears of War Development Studio indicated that the game would be available free with all Xbox Ones. So, the Gears of War Ultimate Edition, is that basically the first Gears of War game? Sean?
Oh, sorry. Which Gears of War game?
Gears of War Ultimate Edition.
See, I got Gears of War 2, and Gears of War 3, and I don't think there's any kind of subtitle. I think Ultimate Edition was probably like the version with all the DLC and everything like that, much like the Fallout New Vegas Ultimate Edition.
Yeah, it's got everything, including the DLC, I think.
Editions and Legendary Editions are usually the complete package.
That looks like what they're going to do is give you the complete Gears of War experience, which I don't mind. It's another remaster, but it's free. You know, if you purchase an Xbox One pack, you'll get the game free with it. So I don't see that as a bad situation. It's not on the side of debate of the HD scenarios where everybody seems to be going to one side or another. Does that make sense? You know, where everyone's like, oh, why are we having remakes that we've got to pay the same fucking price for? It's not a game remake, it's a HD edition of a game that they've just upscaled the graphics, and they've not really done anything to make the game stand out. Does that make sense?
The skins and everything more highly textured as
well. Which is basically, if you own a PC, you can do that yourself anyway with a mod pack. So I get that side of the debate. With this, you're not paying anything for it. They're giving it to you free of charge, and they're giving it to you if you purchase an Xbox One. I don't know if people who already own an Xbox One will get this. If there are any queries, I suggest you address yourself to Microsoft, and see what they think. Now, in other gaming news, Nintendo addresses rumour that it's distancing itself from the new Wii U exclusive. Now, Nintendo has finally broken its silence regarding a recent report that claimed Nintendo will be no longer publish Wii U exclusive action game Devil's Third in North America. Now, there's been some debate on this. Have you heard about the issues that are going back and forth about this game?
What game is this?
Yeah, Devil's Third.
Devil's Third. No, all I know is that it's not being released in North America. That's all I've heard about the subject.
In a statement on Twitter today, Nintendo acknowledged that the mysterious situation, but didn't exactly clear things up concerning the company's publishing arrangement of the game. We know you're eager to hear what's happening with Devil's Third. Nintendo America said, "We're excited to bring the game to the Wii U, and we'll have more to share soon." In its own statement on Friday, designer Tomoto Igaki responded to the report by saying that the wood brims over and that rumours, for what it's worth, his statement did not include specific regarding whether or not Nintendo America is still involved in the game. We know that in Europe it's being published by Nintendo. In Japan it's being published by Nintendo. America it's not. It's currently unclear. I don't get how this is what's happening and why it's TBD on this. Any thoughts?
It's weird. Like sometimes in games like the whole series on this and things that weren't released in North America. You got a bunch of games that were just released in different localities, and it could be trying to avoid the whole nanny state that we have in censorship here in North America. It simply could be that they don't think there's any interest here in North America for that game. But if they didn't have the system region locked, it wouldn't be an issue anyway. Anybody that did want to play it in North America could import it from PAL or Japan and TSC territory.
Apparently they're going to be addressing that though with the NX, because they're going to be addressing whether or not that system's going to be region locked, because Nintendo have said that they may go one way or the other with it. And by the way, ladies and gents, welcoming back to the show a gentleman who has kind of been having his way with the weather, Mr. Dave Wade, Lawn Boys Post 1975.
Hello. Yeah, sorry, Mr. Lancaster. Just the heat. I'm a pussy with heat. I couldn't be asked.
Oh, dude, I'm suffering from hay fever, like the worst kind today. I've got like migraines.
Well, I got into too much information. Uncle Burhan knows this. It makes my stomach condition worse. So,
yeah.
Yesterday was fun. I got a still throat right now. But never mind. All I want to say really quickly, completely unaware of what the topic is, but
nothing.
I must have watched the Evil Dead trailer about 1 million times.
I did. It looks.
I'm sitting back and doing my weekly trailer.
I do love the fact when it's like the world needs a hero, and then he's standing there with a girdle on, going, "Yeah."
You think it's like the bit in pumping the wrist in
yeah.
That's terrible. In Army of Darkness, to put the metal hand on, but then the camera pulls out. And he's got a girdle.
Yeah, he's like, yeah.
And he's got false teeth.
You know what it reminds me of? It reminds me of Reaper. Remember the old show Reaper, but with an edge.
Yeah, we used to get that on Space Imagination Station.
Yeah, it's basically the visuals are very dark. It's very much has that combination of supernatural-esque, because he goes around to different locations, because apparently the Necronomicon has spread worldwide now. You know, these things are affecting.
Also though, based purely from this trailer, so I could be wrong. It looks like it's packing the gore.
Yeah. And also he has a Mexican sidekick, which the guy looks hilarious. Yeah, and the girl in it, he's like, "You remind me of me. You're hot, you're young, and you're facing with danger." And she just sits there looking at him going, "Yep, what?"
Good to hear you. By the way, Mr. Michelin, excellent webcam stand.
Sorry?
It's an excellent webcam stand.
Oh yeah, you saw it, did you?
Yeah.
I was just like, I need to make my webcam, like, I don't have a tripod. Like, I have two different webcams. One zooms in too far, one is nice and wide, and this one doesn't have the little tripod mount. The other one does, but it has like 10x zoom, so it kind of zooms in a bit too much on your face. And I didn't have anything that I could mount it. It was like, oh, I have electrical tape and something tall here. I'll just grab my bottle of Molson Export and put it up there.
Well, Dave,
works perfect.
In kind of, we're going on to a new segment currently. I want to ask your opinion on the whole situation at the moment going on with Nintendo of America and the Wii U game known as Devil's Third. It's being published by Nintendo in North America, in Europe, so where we are. Yeah. It's being published by Nintendo of Japan, but apparently it's up in the air whether it's being published by Nintendo of America.
I don't get this though. Like, who makes this call? At what level of the company? You know what I mean? Because clearly it would sell. Period. So
yeah, it's an adult orientated Wii U game, and we don't. I think a quarter of my Wii U collection is adult games. I was very tempted to buying it on Wii U, by the way, guys, which is going for $5 now, so I may pick up a copy.
I need to get Wii U.
I'd love to know, and I really would like to know at what level that decision was made for a whole, region to be deprived of.
Do you think Reggie probably just sits there and does like a bit of exercise and Chi and goes, "This game will be published. This game will be published."
I reckon he's got a blindfold on.
My body, yeah, that's what I'm thinking. He's like, my body is ready to see which game is going to be published by Nintendo of America today.
This is like I said though, I don't want to keep saying things, but this is what boggles the mind, and I keep repeating myself, but it would sell. Clearly there is an audience and a market for this game, so what a fucking ludicrous decision. Yeah,
they've said they don't know what's going on. They basically explained it on Twitter. They don't know what's going on, but they'll be updating us soon. Which basically leaves us with a same situation that we were in previously. Now, going on from that, let's go on to another little bit. Oh, by the way, Dave, for anybody who owns an Xbox One, they may be getting a Gears of War Ultimate Edition, which is the HD remake of Gears of War with all the other extra packs, absolutely free if you purchase an Xbox One. So that's pretty cool.
That's quite cool, actually.
In my opinion, yeah. Because, like most of the HD remakes, people get pissed off because it's like, hey, they've high-resed everything. Great. Okay, Witcher 3, if you own The Witcher 3, there's a major update which adds new movement options, tweaks horse behaviour, and also allows you to twerk. No, I'm joking about the twerking part, but The Witcher 3 Wild Hunt developer CD Projekt Red has detailed the content.
I was really disappointed then when you said that.
Well, the update will be available on PC, PlayStation 4 and Xbox One soon, and among the changes are optional new movement responses mode for Geralt character with open world RPG. Makes it diversive, many players feeling gradual build to the run, and slow response changes in direction, walks away in others. Introducing an alternate movement style. Fixes a rare issue with the player's horse that would not fall to the ground properly. Fixes rare issues with players could be locked into aiming animation. Fixes rare issues with infinite loading screens. Variety of collision fixes.
There's a lot of issues with this game.
Yeah, it basically updates the entire game. If you want to take a look at it, guys, I'll give the link.
Come back to that little chestnut, which is someone released an unfinished product just to get it out by deadline.
I think it was bugs that they didn't QA test. That's what it was. But it is what it is, and that's all that it is. If you want to check it out, guys, I'll make sure I leave a link on facebook.com/IGotGameplay. And in other news, another, as Dave would call it, the big chestnut, is apparently it was stated by Solid Snake's voice actor, the Japanese voice actor of Solid Snake. The Japanese voice actor of Solid Snake recently, that due to political issues, the company that was once known as Kojima Productions is no more. So, the skeleton crew of the production company are still working fiercely on Metal Gear Solid 5, but as far as a company, there will be no new games being produced or even published under Kojima Productions in the near future.
That's a good sign.
Yeah. That's I don't know. I'm having trouble processing it.
Yeah, so it means it's the final thing. But apparently, Kojima has got a new project funded, which is basically an update. I would, as Xander pointed out, it's the virtual successor to Snatcher. So we're going to probably see some more from him, but it may be a different entity that he'll be publishing it under. Now. You have to excuse me again, guys. Sorry, I do apologise. I know people are just probably getting really sick and tired of me blowing my nose.
We could have a Kickstarter to buy you some antihistamine.
Oh, I probably would need a Kickstarter, knowing how much money I do not have at the moment.
If you go with the goal, we'll get you a intravenous implant.
We'll buy you the bubble from Seinfeld, and you can live in an environment free from pollen.
That would be so awesome. Now,
just don't invite George Costanza over because he'll pop it.
Going on from that, I'm just seeing if we've got any more news before we go on to the main topic today.
I can't really think of much of the games in general.
We're in what I like to call the lull period. The summer is always a kind of lull period when it comes to games.
Well, in terms of news, we've had a pretty good newsworthy week. In terms of YouTube and stuff as well, and I can discuss that later on in a video.
Sorry, this just sounded awesome.
in a video on my channel at the Nerd Genius, because I don't really want to turn IGG into a political debate. But we've had, in terms of the gaming community, we've had loads of mad news going on, haven't we? So it's been a very weird.
Like days of our lives.
Pretty much, Dave. These are the days of our life. Now, I think we're kind of.
I think we should sit on the fence on this one, because I think it's something that people need to fix for themselves.
No, I'm not gonna talk about that, because that is something I am staying out of.
Because too many people have waded into it, and it's like, no, this is something people need
Yeah.
to resolve themselves.
Well, for those who don't know, YouTube is condensed with politics and stuff like that, and there's a lot of stuff going on YouTube, and if you want to check it out, if you can dig deeper in the internet, you can find it. But as far as we're concerned on I Got Gameplay, we're not focusing on that. As far as I'm concerned, there are some situations that I'm gonna weigh my 2 cents on in my channel before I leave, but in terms of this situation that we're discussing, we're not going to discuss it. So we'll move on from that, and let's talk about the topic of tonight's show, which is games that we would like to see be made into remakes, and basically in the aim of like Shenmue 3, which is not really a remake, but it's more an addition to the Shenmue series, or Final Fantasy VII remake that's coming out, which apparently is going to be they're going to change the game specifically. They're going to update the game.
It doesn't even necessarily have to be something really deep.
It could be anything from any age you want, from the Atari age to the Genesis to the SNES. Any game that you think could work, could have additional stories, characters, or even work as a series of games. It's happened before with the Tomb Raider series, it's happened before with any other game in terms of their series, and I want to know from you, what games would they be? So let's start with you first, Sean. What game would you like to see a remake of? And I mean a full-blown remake, not a HD texture pack, high definition upgrade. I mean a game that you want to see a bit more of an expansive universe for.
Something that's not just a quick cash grab, of course. And for me, it's an old retro one, and I think you, Mr. Wade, will appreciate this one as well. Me and you, Michael, talked about it earlier, and that's the Guardian Legend.
Yes.
For the NES.
Yes.
You don't even have to do much besides, don't change the isometric overview. Don't even change any of it. Just update the graphics a bit to like Metroidvania, like you see all these DS releases have. And just maybe make the music full orchestral with electronic where it's needed to. But other than that, don't screw with it. Just give it a visual and auditory refresh.
Yeah, I think. Yeah, I agree. And I would say, I was going to say one of the ones that I'd want to see is XCOM, but truthfully, that's been done. It's had an upgrade. It's had the digital editions. Does it look spectacular? Not as much. I wish they could do a lot more with it. A game that I would like to see, coming from the FMV days, to see a bit more expansiveness on it, would be a game that I played as a kid called Psychic Detective. If you've never played it on the PC, it was an FMV game where you basically have to solve clues and puzzles and use your psychic abilities to find out who done it. It was like playing a game of Cluedo. I would like them to kind of take that into a different direction, maybe have it in a third-person thing, elaborate on the psychic abilities, upgrade it, have sort of RPG mechanics to the game itself, and expand the story a little bit more. I think it would be great. You could even turn it into a Telltale series of games if you wanted to. And for me, I'm a big fan of games when they're done right, and Psychic Detective, I believe, was done right. It was pretty much a shame, though, that I couldn't psychically make women do what I wanted. We'll leave it at that. Yeah. Have you ever played Psychic Detective, guys?
No, I haven't. I know of it.
Yeah, it's an FMV game. I originally bought it because as a growing young boy I thought it was porn. Not gonna lie. But what I got was actually an expansive
What was the
puzzle solver.
PC, was it?
Yeah, PC format.
Why was I thinking Mega CD?
It was back in the age of like Windows 95. It probably was released on the Mega CD because it was an FMV game. So I wouldn't be surprised, you know.
My first experience of FMV games was on the Mega CD.
Actually, my first experience.
Sherlock Holmes.
My first experience of a FMV porn game was on the PlayStation.
Fantastic.
Yeah, it was fantastic. I'll tell you that.
Well, it's funny you were saying this FMV. I just bought Mega CD because do you know? And you can bear with me. You can all laugh, but do you know what I would really like a remake of? Night Trap.
Night Trap.
But done more expansively and a little bit more, you know, not so clearly running in small loops, if that makes sense. A bit more substance. But I could totally go with that. Because on paper, the whole trap mechanic thing is brilliant.
I agree as well. I think it was something that could have been done a little bit better. I thought the story needed a bit more elaboration on it as well.
It was a gimmick. But my point is, there is something there. I mean, so many people look back upon it, you know, warm, fuzzy nostalgic memories because it was quite playable.
But you know,
it's very linear.
You know what the funny thing is? The whole emo vampire thing. They did Twilight before Twilight.
Oh my god, yeah.
Yeah, with the augurs and the guy who's like, you look like my girlfriend that I was in love with like centuries ago. So think about that, guys.
I go to high school even though I'm 90.
Yes. And I look like Superman. And going on from that one, we'll go back to you, Sean. What would your next game pick be?
Well, I mean, I always think back to the NES and the SNES and things like that, and even like early systems. But really, for me, I was thinking about it there the other day as well. Oh, Freedom Force. Make it for like that's that Zapper game by Sunsoft for the NES. I used to love playing that all the time, man, and I could only get so far as was my skill level back then. But it would make a fun little game now. You know, with the Wii U, you can use a Wii Remote as a zapper, or with other systems, I'm sure there's a peripheral. But yeah, it'd be pretty fun. Put it on the Virtual Console, just like I said before, updated graphics, make them kind of not really polygonal, but give them that faux polygonal look to them, and a bit of lighting effects, things like that.
Cell shade.
Yeah, pretty much.
You know what I would like to see? Think about it on the whole Wii U note of things. I think I would love to see either a re-release or a sequel to House of the Dead Overkill.
Oh yes.
Because that game, I felt it had everything right about it. This game had B-movie elements. It had character development.
I'm gonna rip your fucking balls off.
Yeah, and it had funny, snappy lines. I think.
Can I have an ice cream?
Yeah, it's like anything. It could do amazing things.
Wicked stuff.
It did, and also with the typing of the dead as well. You had that extra little bonus, which, truthfully, you could add both those elements into a single game and do like the use the zapper using the Wii remote, or you could use the Wii U tablet controller to do the typing.
Yeah, touchscreen.
Yeah. And by the way, Nintendo, you cheated us because you've never actually released that zapper gun you did in your trailer video, which had the tablet controller on the top, so you could actually view things that you're firing against.
Yeah, I forgot all about that.
Yeah, because I was watching the Wii U like trailer recently, and I was like, it's been 5 years and we still haven't seen that yet. Well, close to 5 years, but yeah.
We think we probably won't.
Yeah, which is a shame.
Current things going to go with that.
Pretty much so. Now, moving on from that one, Dave, it's your pick.
This is an oldie, but it's a goodie. Watch me if the changes try and keep up, okay? Sorry, back to the future. I would really like to see fully realised remake, polished up version, because it's the greatest entry into the series still, of Wonder Boy Monsterland.
You know what? I have to admit, that would be a great series of games to do, and you could do it kind of in the Lords of Shadow-esque Castlevania style.
Give us a remastered, all of them on one disc thingy.
Yeah.
It'd sell millions.
I could dig it.
Yeah, I think it would too. I think it would really work. And ladies and gentlemen, joining us on the show today, we've got Mr. Paul Crampton. Paul, welcome back.
Thank you. Thanks for having me. I had to run around. That's why I'm a little late today.
Oh, no worries, my friend. No worries. You can join Dave on the late list.
Yeah, I was late as well.
He's currently sitting on the naughty chair as we speak.
But in my defence, it's because I went for fried chicken.
Was it finger licking good, Dave? Was it finger licking good?
I had to go buy alcohol.
Oh, well, that's much more valuable.
Just tell me it had the Colonel's secret recipe, Dave.
No, because I went to Miss Millie's.
I don't even know what the hell that place is.
You don't have Miss Millie's in London?
No.
It's a chain. Basically, it's like a one step down from KFC form of fried chicken.
Ooh.
I got a bun, strip meal. I got a chicken in a bun with cheese. Obviously, I have lettuce and mayo because I'm not an animal. I got pot gravy, fries, and 2 strips.
Well, I was busy making food for my little minions today for dinner. I had some hash browns, some chips, and a chicken burger or 2. So, now going on from that, Paul, just so you know, for today's show, what we're doing is we're talking about games that we would like to see remade. And we don't mean HD remakes, we mean an honest remake of the game for basically the 8th generation consoles that we're seeing at the moment, PlayStation 4, Xbox One, Wii U. We've had some good games. Dave's basically talking about Wonder Boy in Monsterland. And I agree with you, though. I think we could see a very good variation of those games, especially
I think it's a franchise. It's still got legs in it, and they should definitely revisit it.
Especially as a Sega franchise. Sega still owns the rights to this.
Yeah.
So,
Or no, do they? Or is it Western?
I believe it's Sega that still owns it.
It's convoluted there.
Yeah. Because I know Sega had the publishing rights, and then it was published as a different game and namesake. And yeah, on a TurboGrafx by the makers of Bomberman, which was the Hudson Soft, yeah.
So I've got that version. It's actually a very good, solid version of the game.
Yeah, a lot of people don't like it. I think it's because the way the character appears, and also the fact that the music doesn't sound the way that it should do in terms. So let me ask you, Paul, what would you like to see in terms of games? What game would you like to see remade into a amazing 8th gen remake?
I would love, and this is it goes a little bit off from what most people would think, but
yeah.
I would love a remake of the Twisted Tales of Spike McFan game off the Super Nintendo.
Tell us what this game's about. I've never heard of it.
A lot of people have. I mean, it's an adventure game. You level up and stuff, but you're a vampire prince magician, and you have a magic hat and a cape that you use to fight all sorts of slimes and bunnies and things like that. It's really ridiculous, but it's just a lot of fun, and it's a game that I've always enjoyed.
I'm sold. I'm sold on the hat alone.
Yeah, I to me, I'm just sitting there thinking, wow. Especially the fact that he's a vampire magician. It's like, this dude sounds like close to Superman here. Or he could beat Superman. He could basically use magic and then stick his fangs into him. So how would you remake the game? What would you think they should add to it?
Honestly, well, one thing was, in a lot of ways it played similar to like The Secret of Mana in the style of Over the View, and I wouldn't change that part, but I would definitely add of course a multiplayer component, because if you've got 3 people on the screen at the same time, or 2, then that's great. More characters, more options, and just the visuals just could be so much better. I wouldn't change it into like a first person or anything. It's just one that I think would resonate. It's such a bright game with a lot of different moods.
I like that idea. I really, really do. Now, going on from that, let's go back to you, Sean. Name your game.
Well, we're going to have to go back to the 8-bit once again, and because we've seen DuckTales Remastered, Chippendales Rescue Rangers.
Oh, you know what? I could one better you on that. Quack Shot.
Oh fuck! Wasn't it the one that came out for the Master System, or no?
No, it was Sega Genesis, I think.
Yeah.
and it had Launchpad, and it had Donald Duck in his Indiana Jones kind of outfit with these plungers. Yeah, I loved it. I remember
making the guy shirt as well, didn't he?
Yeah. It looked amazing. It was sublime. I would love to see kind of like a DuckTales remastered version of that. It would. I think I've said it before on this show. It was one of my favourite games on the Sega Mega Drive, to the point where I was so addicted to it that I wasn't going near my Nintendo at the time because I wanted to play this so much. It nearly cost me a couple of days at school as well in terms of homework.
In a charity shop for £1.50.
It's such a great game. For those who haven't played this game, why? That's what I ask you. Why?
It's around on emulation.
Yeah, it's such a great game. But I would love to see like a variation of that. Same style, updated graphics, maybe even add some extra levels onto there as well, and make a more cohesive map. I found that you couldn't really choose where you were supposed to go. It would just take you.
Yeah.
You know, and which was a shame.
You could kind of give it an overworld sort of, map screen and give it that element from Mario 3 and 4. That was
really good. That. And also play around with the kind of the level design a bit more. But it's and maybe
also,
give some extra
you're
bits.
ducking it, don't make one of the things that makes your health go back up your chicken, because that's cannibal.
Yes. Going on from that, Mr. Lawn Boy, your pick.
This is a bit of an abstract one because it's a Japanese only, and it's now a defunct animated or manga or anime, I should say, show. And in the West, it was called the Cap Attack. But I'd like to see an HD version of, an expanded universe version of Magical Flying Hat Turbo Adventure.
Yeah, those are
solid platformers on the Mega Genesis. It was a shame. I mean, I never played Cap Attack, so I'm sure it plays exactly the same, apart from you change visuals and the mechanic of your head. But I just think it's a shame. I understand why, because they didn't want to pay for the license in the West. It was really, really expensive. But I just think it's one of the most stylized, visually stunning, great, cutesy, playable platformers on the Mega Drive outside of Sonic. And it'd be great now as kind of a little reward to the West who didn't get it. That now that these things more affordable and accessible these days, it'd be nice for it to be re-released, in a new version, and the West actually gets to play it as Magical Flying Hat Turbo Adventure and not the Cap Attack. Has anyone else ever played it?
I haven't actually.
I told her of it. Guy, what's his name? There was a bunch of games that were based off it. One was that Fox game on the Master System. Psycho Fox and
Actually, yeah, I've got all three versions of that game on the Genesis. My brother has the Sega Genesis Japanese version that can play Japanese, it can play PAL. It has its own NTSC EU conversion on there, and he has all three of those games, and he only got them by potluck because he traded another system that he owned because he had two systems, and he got all three of those games. And I never knew they were the same game.
But it's quite a tricky game to get these days.
Yeah, I never knew they were the same game. Never knew.
Yeah, it's just reskin.
What's his name? Guy, what's his name? Japanese developer. He's the guy that created the whole series. I was watching GameSack on it there the other week as well.
Yeah, because they reskinned it like 3 times, didn't they? Because they did one for the Americans, they did one for the Japs, and one for us here in the UK.
Well, the Jap one is the original one.
Yeah, because it was based on an anime show. Yeah. And then Psycho Fox was the American version. And then in the UK here, we got Cap Attack.
No, they got Cap Attack in the States as well. Psycho Fox was basically the Master System version.
That was it, yeah. So it's kind of weird. You wouldn't really think of that. Imagine like having, say, 3 versions of Super Mario U, for instance, or 3 versions.
Regionalised, and I don't mean as a lot. I mean, developed for the culture of the market it's being direct released for.
Yeah, it's that you would never see that happen these days. Or like Gears of War Special Umoratsu Edition or something like that, and you have like a bunch of Japanese soldiers instead.
The UK version of Gears of War where all your guns don't work because the government's too cheap to fund your military
Don't worry, I think they'll find some freaking elderly pensioners who still get benefits.
And you can have the US version where you
tax
you
them.
aliens, you just start wars for oil for the bunch.
Or you could have or you could have the Chinese version where they don't talk about that.
You could have the North Korean version where you have to land on the sun.
So, Paul, name your next game.
Well, you know what? In the same vein, with a nice platformer that I really enjoyed, which was Daffy Duck: The Martian Adventures for the Super Nintendo.
Oh, yeah, I remember that one.
I'd like that clean.
Oh, Marvin the Martian, you stupid son of a bitch.
Why were you dressed like a centurion?
I am Sparta!
Why am I dripping physical?
You're despicable.
That makes me very angry. I love that guy's just like he's the super long name thing and he just gets blown up. I love that cartoon.
That planet is affecting my view.
What was it? Duck Rogers in the 21st century?
Yes, that Dodgers in the 21st,
And that,
24th and a half century.
yeah, that's right.
And I love Porky Pig playing his sidekick. He looked like some weird transsexual gimp. Your colleague is quite fetching. So yeah, no, I like that. I think that's really good. What would you do anything to change the game, or would you keep it the way it was?
Honestly, the only thing I would want them to do is to create a level editor. That would just be like, I mean, for so many side scrollers, ROM hacks and all that are so popular. Why not do that to more games? That really builds a whole bunch to it.
You could have a whole bit in like Mario Kart 8 where you just, and you know, Sackboy just dump your designs on the internet for other people to play.
Yeah.
Maybe add a few other Looney Tunes characters that, you know, with just weird outfits, but overall, I wouldn't change much other than the visuals.
Yeah, or even have like some DLC, like characters that you could add into the game as well to give it a bit more symmetry. That's a great idea, actually. Ladies and gents, we've got a gentleman who's been on the show previously, was one of the featured hosts on the show, and also has his own YouTube channel. He's kind of stepped back a little bit to do his own channel himself. He's Mr. Travis Goss, aka Rose Coloured Let's Plays. Travis, welcome back to the show. It's been ages.
Yeah, how's it going, Burhan? It's been a long time, man.
Yeah, it's kind of like fitting to have you on some like my final show, basically for IGG. It's kind of a how can I say? It's nice to reminisce. So yeah,
circle.
Yes, we have come full circle in a sense, and I'm going to address that probably kind of near to the end of the show. What we're talking about at the moment is we're talking about games that we would love to see having a remake, not a HD remaster, not like a game that gets like high-res visuals. We're talking about an overall like remake of a game. You've played a lot of retro games out there. You've played a lot of games on your Rose Coloured Let's Plays channels. What game would you like to see kind of get a remake?
That's a great question because right now I've really gotten back into playing the Leisure Suit Larry games.
And we had Al Lowe on the show as well.
Yeah, I know. I remember that night. It was the same night I went to see the Rock Paper Picture Show at a local playhouse, and I was so bummed I wasn't able to be on the show. But anyways,
I had the biggest nerd boner that day.
I think that the first Leisure Suit Larry game it had like 3 different iterations of it. The very first game. It was remade twice, I do believe.
They did a Kickstarter for it, didn't they, as well?
Yeah, it did. So I think we're done with that one, but I think what they really need to do is try to remaster some of the other ones, like try to remake some of the other ones for modern times, but not do it like the CG graphics, making very very cartoony, like Love for Sale was. That was very cartoony.
I loved Love for Sale. That's actually one of my favourite ones in the Legend of
that
Larry
where he's on
series.
the boat and he's in the scavenger hunt or something?
Yeah, that was the
Same.
first time I actually
that.
understood what a graphics card was, because it was like, your machine does not have the specs to play this game, and I had to. And they were like, my brother was like, we have to upgrade the graphics card. I was like, what the fuck is a graphics card? What is this? I was a kid. I was stupid at the time. Then I realised, and once we upgraded the graphics card, I was a go. But it was a terrific game, especially for the time.
Back very nostalgically on my Voodoo.
Yeah, it was a game for the time, for its era as well. It holds up today from today's standards, you know, especially for the fact you've got a lot of Flash games that use the same kind of engine on it. And it started off with him being on the boat, and he's got to make love to a woman, then he accidentally starts a fire. I remember that
Yeah, he lands in the cactus.
yeah, it's a great game. And it's a game that you also govern by choices as well. It would be, in fair play, because we don't have many adult games for the Wii U and games that utilise it, that would be a great game to have on the Wii U tablet, because you get to do the multiple choices and stuff like that as well, and you get to lead Larry through. I would like to see, to jump on that idea, maybe a open world Leisure Suit Larry game. Actually a sandbox game with him. So you could...
I don't know how that would work, because... and kind of like the linear style of the game itself. I mean, you can actually go and try to score with different girls at different times, you know, in the game. It doesn't have to be in order. But I don't know, like a sandbox Leisure Suit Larry.
Well, what you do is you compile all the games into one, and that way, what you do, you still have to go from place to place, but you can say, like, for instance, you could do 1 first, or you could do 3 first, or go through Leisure Suit Larry 2 first, and go through different iterations, and you've got to score with these different types of women. And, you know, because like one of my favourite Leisure Suit Larry moments is when he ended up having sex with a hooker without a condom, and then he exploded.
How low? Get on this.
Yeah, I don't even know if he actually still works on that, which is a shame. Another one for me, I would say, a game that needs a huge ramp up. I think it's a game that, for one reason or another, never ever saw the light of day after its second gen console release, which was the Alex Kidd series. But one game in particular that I would want to see, Alex Kidd and Shinobi World. I would love to see an update on that. You know, because they've tried like doing the whole open world Shinobi type game. I want to see an Alex Kidd Shinobi World type platformer, a game where you use those abilities. It would be a really nice sort of high-res remake, but you could also play around, and as Paul said, add the level designer thing to it, so you could actually play an online thing with other people where you get to create levels surrounding this and find new ways to trick other people. Kind of a Mario Maker-esque type thing. Sega could do really well with it, and it was one of those games, because you could do it in 2.5D, it wouldn't cost too much to make. You wouldn't be throwing millions upon millions at the game, which is great. So going on from that, Sean, your pick.
Oh, now that you're getting on to the PC games and everything like that, I looked into this, and it might actually happen, is that it's being done for free, but with permission from the company. There's a Duke Nukem 3D project where the whole game is being redone in the Unreal 2 engine or something like that, just like the original game.
That sounds awesome.
Yeah, because it's like being fan-made, but getting the blessing of it's supposed to be a free game whenever the hell it comes out. But development's been stalled, so...
Well, it's a Duke Nukem game. Development has to be stalled because of the law.
That's true. I think that's part of the course now.
But, you know, the funny thing about the Duke Nukem series, though, I think the problem is they always try to break the fourth wall and make it crude. I think they should just go full-on. They should just let it be a full-on adult game instead of trying to make it kind of
alluding to it.
Yeah. It's basically, instead of trying to do Porky's, they might as well just go with full-on Animal House.
Yeah.
I thought Porky's was a little more raunchy than Animal House, in my opinion.
I think Canada's did it.
I found Animal House was actually a little bit more raunchy than Porky's. Porky's, you got to see certain things. They used to see a lot more, like in terms of anatomy and stuff, and they'd have a lot more.
There's the infamous TV edit there of Porky's. Remember that?
Oh god.
where he does,
that was
it
horrendous.
just defines the laws of physics. Defines the laws of physics, which is alright in the movie. You know, he sticks his through the hole in the wall, but for the TV version, it's his tongue. And then when it cuts back to the teacher pulling it, and you're like, I don't give a shit, you know, how big his tongue is. That's physically impossible.
Yeah. Unless
I have a pretty long tongue.
Unless he's Steven Tyler, you know.
Gene Simmons.
Or Gene Simmons, yeah. You get
Who
hit!
do you finally loses his cherry at the end? What's his name?
The little fucking curly hair guy.
I can't remember. One of my favourite, what his name is, but one of my favourite jokes is when someone says to him, when he's, I think it might be when he meets the hooker, which is someone should tie a board across his ass to stop him falling in.
What is his name? Fucking, it's like one of those names that alludes to his nerdiness or something like that. I can't remember.
So guys and gals, if you want to... Oh, Pee-wee, is it? Yeah. I know, I've watched a few of those myself. I remember the first time I got Sky Television, the first thing I watched was Porky's. Because I was
me as well.
Yeah, my parents were just like, no, make sure you don't watch Porky's. And then I watched it. But I was like, did you watch Porky's? No. Yeah, what is this Porky's you speak of? I need to watch it now.
There you go. Why don't I make a point-and-click version of that?
Well, it beat the Atari 2600 adaptation that they tried to make popular back in the day. That was really shitty.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
Yeah, but saying that, nearly every Atari game was kind of shitty.
And let's not forget that they had their little foray into adult games, didn't they?
Yes.
In the 2600. Was it Custer?
Yeah, Beat 'em Beam, Custer's Revenge, Cat House Blues. There's quite a few.
Yeah, from
Came in leather cases and had little locks. There you go.
That's right. Yeah.
So, going on that, so it's down to you, Mr. Lawnboy. What's your next game on the list?
You know what I would like, but it has to be done very much like, you know, you can polish it up and stuff, but it has to be done very much in the style of the original one, because I think sports games right now take themselves too fucking seriously, and we need to go back to a time to the 90s where it was you can have a sports game that's completely arcade. And I'd like to see a new version of NBA Jam.
Ooh, yes.
He's on fire!
But you know what? What was that game?
So this time you don't unlock Bill Clinton, you unlock Obama.
What was that horror game that you played? That basketball horror? Was it called Basketball Horror? For the Genesis, where you played you used to play against werewolves and stuff like that.
That was Basketball, wasn't it?
Something like that. It was. I used to play that. I used to play the hell out of that one. But I like that.
Bad News Baseball on the NES.
Yeah.
Oh god, this is turning into a right nostalgic moment. So going off that.
In a sports game ever is the original NHL on the Mega Drive with Genesis, where they took out all the other versions where you could fight them and pummel them so much that blood would come out the back of their head on the ice.
Well, I've still got the original Madden for the Super Nintendo, which is actually my favourite Madden in the series, because they didn't strip it down and turn it into a piece of shit. I
like the follow-up, the second Madden, because the ambulance used to come tearing onto the pitch and knock people out of the way, like Skittles.
That's what's called Basketball Nightmare.
It's like it was racing there to save you, but it took about half your team out on its way to save the person who was injured. It injured more people than it saved.
It was Basketball Nightmare, Dave. Yeah. For those who haven't played it, it's on the Genesis. Again, another one of my favourite games. I used to spend hours playing it.
I'd be getting a gameplay of that soon then.
It's a great game. So going on for you, Paul. Pick a game.
Oh, so many. So many to choose from. Again, it's a series, and they've done it different ways multiple times, but the Mystic Ninja games.
Yeah, good choice.
I mean, I love them all. I mean, they all play very differently, but they're such great games. And, I mean, I don't even know if, I can't even say change them at all, other than, better visuals, clean up things. I'm sure some slightly better subtitles for the original one. We don't need no Kid Yang again. Instead of Kill Mom. but
that's an absolute top idea. That's another
why isn't he in Smash Brothers?
Yeah.
Well, apparently they still haven't selected a character yet. So they still haven't tallied the poll yet of what character they're trying to bring in. I will say the recent digital download they had for Smash Bros. With the update for Ryu was bloody expensive. I had to pay like £24 for the fucking thing. It's one of the last things I got for my little minions, believe it or not, in terms of DLC. So, Travis, name your game.
Oh, I think long and hard about this one.
Long and hard.
Another
phrasing.
Please shoot Larry game.
Yeah, there we go. But no, actually thought about the game that I actually used to love playing on the NES, and I was happy when it came to the Super Nintendo, and it's a Super Edition. I like to see a remake of the original Adventure Island.
Nice.
Yeah.
Actually, the entire series was pretty phenomenal. I love Super Adventure Island too.
That's my favorite one. I mean, Super Adventure Island was my favorite one in the series. I don't really like Super Adventure Island 2 because it kind of, first of all, the soundtrack was not nearly as good as what was on the Super Adventure Island. And second of all, it had some different elements I was not too pleased with. It had like a level up system, I do believe. I just wasn't very pleased with it. But I would love to see a total HD remake of Adventure Island.
Master Higgins.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Who owns the rights to that now? Hudson Soft or no?
I think it was Hudson Soft, yeah.
And that's
But
Konami.
didn't that spawn? Didn't the Adventure Island series actually spawn off of Wonder Boy?
Yeah, it did.
Yep, that's right.
Ooh, it's a nice little link there between the two.
Although that would be nice to have a new game.
In the kind of the successor of like the fact that the Prince of Persia games kind of had their own kind of successive franchise series, rebooting that. I think a game that I would love to see, it spawned a kind of a sequel, intensive sequel, its own version of it, which was Fade to Black. That game is Another World. I would love to see...
Which was technically in the flashback series, wasn't it?
Yeah. I would like to see Another World, and the reason being is I would want to see exactly, and I want to do it like in a trilogy of games.
There's a 20th anniversary edition in the Wii U shop, the flashback.
There is. But apparently Flashback had nothing to do with Another World. They were two totally different games. Yeah, they were just made in the similar style. So people always used to confuse them.
They marketed it, didn't they, on Mega Drive? It said, a CD-ROM game on cartridge.
Yeah. So I would love to see a proper version of Another World, expand the story a bit more, be a bit more intense with it, and let us know what the hell happened, because the game was very open-ended with its ending.
Yeah.
Well, if you had
Would you do
a
rotoscope
Mega
graphics?
if you had a Mega CD, or for us American gents out there, a Sega CD, they came out with Heart of the Alien, which was supposed to be a continuation of Out of This World. Unfortunately, Eric Chahi had absolutely nothing to do with that game. It was all Virgin's idea to have like a sequel, and unfortunately, I'm sorry, the sequel was pure shit. It's like an American producer trying to come up with a sequel to a nice, excellent foreign film, and it missed the mark.
It's like 1990.
Or it's like them trying to make Record, like, the Record series, trying to go from that and go, okay, we're going to make Record 2, which has nothing to do with the original, which is just going to have a similar style to it, but the story is terrible, and it was directed by Michael Bay.
Exactly. And the thing is, Heart of the Alien, for those who don't know, it's supposed to have been the sequel to Out of This World, or Another World for that matter. You actually play as Buddy, who was rescued at the first game, and it was from his point of view. But no, it's not a good idea. So I see where you're going with that, bro.
What's funny is
a reimagining, if you will.
Yeah, because I would like to see the first story, and then they can elaborate on it. And I think, if the fact that you can tell, and I'm sorry to say this, you could actually tell 50 Shades of Grey again from Grey's perspective, I think you could do this through many different perspectives, or even play around with it, because E.L. James is terrible. Just don't get E.L. James to write it, because I would...
Say how far we've come. I'm looking at my copy of Flashback right now. goes, 12 meg cartridge.
That's a Sega CD though.
Okay, so let's go for our final picks now. Mr. Sean Michelin, what would your final pick be?
Turned into a dog.
I know he has.
Let's just go to court.
Well, we turn to Littlest Hobo. There's a voice deep inside of me. So Mr. Lawn Boy.
Every time it pops up, every time the Ted Trader comes on, I get that song stuck in my head for hours.
Let's all go to court.
Johnny, what's
So Dave, what would your final pick be?
Stay with me on this. So, who remembers Pandemonium?
Oh yes, that was a game. It was something else. Again, this game was something else.
When you said 2.5 3D, my brain just went, oh, that was the game that kicked it all off.
Yeah, it was something else, and then they changed it into another when it got released.
You became a jester, didn't you?
Yeah.
I love that though. I think that a very highly visualised, stylized version of that totally worked. Nostalgia, people have been crying out for a platform game. Too many games are so violent and shit and take themselves too seriously. Let's go old school and have ourselves a modern reworking of Pandemonium.
Ooh, I would love that.
You get an extra bonus level, bonus option in the menu where you have a speed run option and it records it. Oh.
I like that. You can play, and it could be very well done online as well. Yeah, I like that as well.
And you could hide the first two games in the actual remaster game, the bonus when you beat it or something.
Ooh, that would be good. So, Paul, what about you?
You have to give me a minute on this one, so please, if someone else wants to go first.
Mr. Goss.
Gosh, this is a tough choice. Well, I don't know.
Song from Test to inspire you.
Well, the only thing I could possibly think of right now, just off the top of my head, is I would love to actually see a remake of The Neighborhood.
The what? What's the game called?
The Neighborhood.
The Neverhood.
What was it?
It was a point-and-click game where it's all clean claymation. It was really ahead of its time. It was a lot of fun to play. Basically, you play a clayman, and it's point-and-click. You have to make all these decisions on how to progress. You got to click certain items to get out of the levels on stuff. It was a puzzle game. And it had a sequel called Skull Monkeys, which was a platformer.
Ah, yes. I remember you did a Let's Play of that.
Yeah, and I need to go back and finish it. I haven't done that in a couple of years. So yeah, I gotta go back and finish that game. But no, I would love actually to see them do like a remake of The Neighborhood, although I doubt that's happening.
Yeah, very much so. It's a shame as well.
Can I just have one quick extra? You just reminded me of something.
Go on, Dave.
We need a remastered version of Fate of Atlantis.
I was actually gonna have that as my final pick, Indiana Jones and the Fate of Atlantis, which is actually hidden in the Wii version of Indiana Jones. Yeah, it's a fucking great game.
It's very easy to unlock. You just got to get one trophy at the start.
Yeah.
That cave. But yeah, no, I remember that being absolutely fantastic. In fact, if anything, they should have made that the fourth Indiana Jones movie and shot it 10 years before.
I would have loved that. I believe they did say that they were probably going to do that at one point, but it all went up in the air because I remember the fourth Indiana Jones movie was all in limbo.
We were just waiting for a really good script. Really?
No, we were just waiting for Shia LaBeouf to come in and just fuck it up because
Yeah, but Fate of Atlantis was an absolute phenomenal game because all the Lucas point and clicks were brilliant. Monkey Island and all that.
Day of the Tentacle, I would say as well, expanded Day of the Tentacle. Would love to see another version of that. Maniac Mansion, you name it. For me,
tonight I've got the emulator Scum running on my Wii U, so I can play it and you use your Wii U. It's not your Wii U, my Wii, and you use the Wiimote is the mouse, so you can play all the old point and clicks on it.
Ooh, that's actually pretty cool. I think the game that I would like to see them do a rehash of would be a game that I spent hours on this. Zombies Ate My Neighbors.
Oh yeah!
They did a series on the game itself. I think it was I'm giving him a big shout out. I think it was Slope's Game Room. he did like a whole like series on those 3 games and talked about the unofficial successes that were like part of it, and they never, like Monster Squad, and they never really had a proper closing story to it, which was a shame, because I think that game they could have been more expansive. They could have played on the story a bit more. They could even made it a bit more gory in a sense, and basically had a trilogy of games that came from it. So never know. I hopefully, you know, see how that goes, get a retool done, maybe go from a top view the way that they did in the previous games, make it 2.5D, make it stand out as well. You could have it as an online downloadable game, or even put it on disc. And also you could have online play, which I think would be great. Me and Dave actually playing the game together ourselves, like similar to the way they did, the Behemoth did Castle Crashers. Hell, hand the game over to the Behemoth and let them make you know, another version of it. I think they'll do a fantastic job.
Like, just popped in my head when you said discs. My mate was doing his Doc Brown quote, and he was taking a piss at the console. Discs? Where we're going, we don't need discs. Because it's coming.
Doc Brown invented DLC.
Yeah.
I just think of, whenever I think of like DVDs and CDs, all I think of is the latest season of Red Dwarf, when they talk about why that they went back to VHS tapes because they lost millions of CDs, but the cassettes are too hard to lose.
Do you remember the format they had in the original series of when you used to get Zero G football, when it was that triangular shaped VHS?
Oh, come on.
My Mogwai's awake. So, and Dave's actually proven that there was a post that actually came out saying that children are a lot like gremlins, and I shouldn't feed them after midnight. So, going on from that, Paul, give us your last game.
Okay, there's many games in the vein of what this was, but it was one that I spent hours upon hours playing. It was Faxanadu. Faxanadu on the NES. That brutally hard, like,
that even existed.
and it just, I enjoyed so much of it because it was a true dungeon crawler in a way, but it gave me the game separated men from boys. Oh, and what I hated the most though was the stupid password save system.
Unnecessarily long.
And the fact that, you know, what they had zeros and O's. They were different.
I would love to see that. That's actually
the casual eye, they were
yeah, there was one had a slight straight line to it.
I like that. I think that's a really, really good idea. So, Sean, what about you? Your final pick?
Final pick? Well, let's go back to the NES, I guess. Actually, no, shag that. Let's go over to the Mega Drive and Gunstar Heroes. Same thing. Graphical update.
I'm really surprised they haven't done an HD version of that, actually.
That sequel they made wasn't that.
What was the sequel? I didn't know it was a sequel.
It was on the DS, I believe.
Oh, that's right, yeah. Blocked it out from me.
They took away everything that made the first one cool.
It's funny, there's a parallel between Gunstar Heroes, how it got created with all these Kickstarters and Mighty No. 9 and stuff like that. Because it was the group of people who left Konami because they were tired of just making sequels to games in canon's politics for them to make money from franchises and want to make something different. So they left and formed their own company. So it's kind of a little bit of a parallel there with, you know, the stuff that's going on right now.
Well, they at least weren't tired, or weren't trying to, you know, do one or two different Kickstarters for games, even though the other game hasn't been released. Yes, I am taking a shot at Concept. Yeah.
You forgot one very important thing, Mr. Johan.
What's that?
Let's go to cover it.
So on that note, guys, these are our picks of games that we would love to see remaked. And we don't talk about HD remakes, we're not talking about upscaling these games or re-releases. We're talking about actually having these games remade, maybe some different mechanics, maybe some additional levels, and ways to make a better interaction for the 8th gen of consoles. If there are games that you would like to see remade, leave it in the comment section below, of course, as well. Now, what I was going to do, usually we would end the show kind of on the plug notes and bits and pieces, but I want to talk a little bit about my time with I Got Gameplay. And I've been doing this show for, I think it's been over 5 years. It's gone from network to network, you know, from
I've had diseases for sure.
yeah, for starting off as a podcast associated with a site known as Fanboys Anonymous, and the site itself was then launched, and I Got Gameplay was like kind of a featured podcast on there. We then the site merged with Mega Powers Radio, and we got our start on there. And that's where I brought Travis along, Travis kind of started as a fan of my Nerd Genius channel, and we brought him along, and he started, you know, working as the panel. We've changed from myself, Nick Abrams, Sean Mitchell, Braden Mayhew, who are the 4-person panel doing the shows, if you check back the earlier episodes, of course, as well. And we went into kind of changing the show into something more diverse, more unique. Then, you know, due to political elements, and again, I always say that politics and the internet shouldn't be happening. Do you know what I mean?
Jesus Christ, that's a big tone, sorry.
Especially if you do something that you love and you're doing it for free and it's a hobby, there shouldn't be any political elements involved. But, you know, with Mega Powers Radio there was loads. Situations that
doesn't kill you makes you stronger.
Yeah, stuff that basically kept on up till, what was it, Dave, like the end of last year, I think it was. We had issues with Mega Powers Radio, and we then moved on to XFI. I had to give a big thank you to Clint Davis, who was the owner of XFI Radio, who brought I Got Gameplay on for its hiatus, and then we moved onto a new radio station which I helped create with Stephen Richards called the Retro London Network. I have enjoyed this for the last 5 years. It's been amazing. I've talked about amazing subjects. I've met some great people. If it wasn't for the show, I never would have met Rob Mann, who I consider like family to me. Probably would have never met Paul, Dave as well, because of this show. I got my association with Retro Unlim, Sean, Travis as well, and I want to basically give a nice little talk about the moments that's made the show truly unique, you know, where it's Dave's kind of style and his own unique outlook on retro gaming, whether it's Paul and me, who will just basically sometimes will just message to kind of Josh and just shoot the shit. And Paul, you know, I want to give Paul a great big thank you, because he's helped me a lot in terms of, you know, issues that I've had, and been there as a friend, and also been there financially. Same thing with you, Dave. You know, you've helped me through everything. And over the past 2 years, I've attempted to be a strong-willed person, but a lot of situations have happened that have knocked me down, and have left me in a situation where I cannot continue as the host of the show, and it's really a shame, and it breaks my heart to basically take something that I helped create. I'm kind of like I'm the last original member of the I Got Gameplay crew, that I'm passing it on to Sean, who's, you know, I know you're going to do wonders with it, Sean, so I have true faith. And you know, life is going to be a bit tricky, but it's going to be it's about what life is. You know, I'm trying to find a new chapter, in a sense, in my own story, you know, a new verse to my own book, in a sense, my own song sheet. And it's hard. It's going to be extremely hard. I don't know whether or not I'm going to be returning to do my Nerd Genius channel, returning to do I Got Gameplay, how long I'm going to be away for. All I know is I've got this is something that needs to be done, because, especially because of relevant issues that I've had personally, there has to be distance created between me and a few factors in my life that are making things harder. But I do want to give a great big shout out to everybody that's been on the show. Nick, Braden, Sean, the 3 guys who started the show with me. I want to give a great big shout out to you guys who helped me make this into something unique, you know, and guys who I still consider my friends to this day. Nick has gone on to do his own radio shows for different networks. Sean is basically existing and living life. Braden has gone to actually do a radio degree. He's learning to be a proper radio host and is hoping to make that into a full-time career. With like Samantha Jennings as well, aka Twinkie Jean. I found her I found her on Facebook, believe it or not. Added her as one of the first female hosts for the crew. Nikki as well, Jacqueline Diaz, another one of our female hosts. They did a great episode on Animal Crossing, which was one of my favourites, because just to hear the girls just sit there and talk about how amazing this game is, and then I ended up picking up a copy of it, and oh my god, it was... They schooled me, because it got to the point. I've never played a game that made me want to... That I played based on real life, you know? It was literally the same things that you would do in real life, but in game form.
Very, very tied into the calendar.
Yeah.
Like one of my greatest moments in that game was when I met her.
Yeah, and I want to, give a great big shout out to Stephen Richards as well, who was the main guy, who's always believed in me. And believed in what I can do. And there's so many times where you sit there and you think, can I continue? Can I keep going? And it's hard. When at one point we lost nearly every member of the show, and I had to go scrambling for new members. Luckily I had Xander, my brother from another mother, and one of my best friends, pick up the slack and work with me on I Got Gameplay. He's now currently working his ass off trying to do other stuff. Check out his YouTube channel as well, Xander Scully and Excess Gaming Podcast, his radio show, and he's another talented individual. We had Gamester 81. That was an amazing episode. Clint from Lazy Game Reviews.
Yeah, I was just going to mention Clint.
Who opened
myself that day.
Yeah, he opened our eyes to a lot of what was going on in terms of like the YouTube and gaming industry and stuff. Larry Bundy, who was fucking hilarious. A great episode with him. Al Lowe, when we had him on the show, and that was great. Megaran, the whole reason that me and Megaran are friends is because it started with I Got Gameplay. And a big shout out to Jamie Styles as well. The one thing most people don't know about Jamie, she started on the show. I remember when one of my funniest moments was I found her on Twitter, and I was like, hey, that girl's pretty cool, she's pretty knowledgeable, let's get her on the show. And she was wondering to see if I was some creep who was basically trying to hit on her or invite her into his basement. And she found out I was a creep, but yeah, she found out I was a creep, but I wasn't trying to hit on her. I actually wanted her on the show, and it's been a great rotation. Yeah. And it's been, IGG for me has been like school in a sense. Stuff I didn't know, I learnt more about. The stuff I knew, I became. I researched and I cultivated a lot of the thing as a gaming journalist. A lot of my role wouldn't have happened if it wasn't for this show and Nerd Genius and Retro Unlimited and all those shows and stuff like that. And it's very humbling to see that you can achieve anything that you want to achieve, no matter what happens in life. You can do whatever you want. You're not automatically going to get like millions of pounds to do it, but it's something that you can enjoy and that you love doing. People want to hear it, and the great thing about the show manages to get over 1,000 listens a day in terms of what it did, and what it achieved was amazing. And I can't say much more about it. Travis is doing his rose-colored Let's Plays channel. I remember when I first met you, Travis. It was funny how you never even found your voice, and then when you did this show, you became more comfortable with yourself, and then when you wanted to do the YouTube stuff, you got more and more comfortable who you are. And we've experienced so much. We've experienced so many losses, and we've gone through so many people who who I've been friends with, who I've lost. But what's been consistent is the amount of love and following that we've got thanks to this show. And to everybody out there who don't leave the show because I'm going. stick to with it. Stick with what Sean's going to do. Stick with what the other guys are doing on the shows, because I guarantee you're still going to have as much fun as you did with me. I'm just a guy with the dick jokes. I'm not really much use on these shows apart from my own comedy and shtick. But I do love the fact that I get to hand it with people who love and care it and will give it as much attention and love as what I did, and stick with the I Got Gameplay brand anyway. So
I just want to say one thing real quick before.
yeah, go for it, dude.
My favorite moment of IGG though was the very first episode I did, because I wanted to get into journalism of some kind, and I wanted to write articles and everything. And this was back when we were on Fanboys Anonymous, and I can't remember exactly how I came across you, or Fanboys for that matter.
Oh, you came across me via YouTube. Yeah, we were talking.
Yeah.
I think I did a contest and you won it, and then you were
right.
like, "Yeah, I don't want the prize. I just want to I just want to keep listening." And you did. And then eventually I was like, "Hey, do you want to? I'm looking for guest hosts. Do you want to be on the part of it?" And then your name propped up, and you were like, "Yeah, I want to do this."
Yeah, that's right. And it was because you got me onto the show, and you got me involved with Fanboys Anonymous. And that was actually when I came up with the idea of maybe I should do a review show sometime. And I did that for a little bit, the Rose Colored Reviews. And then I got to thinking, this is great, I like doing this, but I also want to do Let's Play videos. I remember some people that community, I'm not going to name names or anything, but it's like, no, just stick with reviews, you'll do fine with that. I was like, I really want to do Let's Play videos, so I just started doing those, and they're doing pretty darn well. But I gotta say, it's because of you, Burhan, that you helped me get started. I owe everything to you.
You owe me nothing, dude. Trust me, you owe me nothing. Nobody owes me anything. In the end, it's. I think everybody. I think a friend of mine always said to me that I have this knack for championing people. Getting people up there and kind of pushing you to the direction that you want to go in, and say, you can do this. And I'll always do it. And with each and every one of you guys out there, you can do whatever you want to put your mind to. Don't let anybody tell you otherwise. And look at Dave. Dave is probably one of the biggest, I would say, community storytellers on YouTube, in my opinion. And I think your channel is going to keep growing, because you're one of the most amazing and you have that presence that brings people to you, and it's like
You're making me blush.
But it's true. Sean, very tech savvy. You've got a great baritone voice over there as well, very imposing. It's one of the reasons why I've I wanted you to be the host of IGG. You got the voice, baby. And it's kind of one of those things as well where I feel that there's so much untapped potential there. Well, Paul, you've got an amazing heart, dude. At the end of the day, and it's nice when I do these shows, because I can sit down and I can talk with you guys, and we're like best friends chatting. It's never like a business. We don't do it because we're supposed to be radio hosts and we're supposed to be very articulate and we're supposed to do this. And it's never been about that. It's been about the family, the stories, the emotions. It's about trying to tell the truth, well, our version of the truth, and knowing, and that we can sit down and discuss things like grown adults, but sometimes even at children, with our poop jokes and stuff, or when people just their hands out there with the dick jokes again.
Watch stuff.
Yeah, butt stuff. And it's fun, and the last 5 years have been amazing. And I just want to say to each and every one of you guys out there, keep listening, keep staying tuned, and for the very last time, this is Michael Burhan for Dave Wade, for Paul Crampton, for Sean Michelin, for Travis Goss, and for every person who has joined us on I Got Gameplay saying that we've got gameplay. Have you?
Let's all go to court.